all right, Bruncy. Let's talk football. Did you separate the game plan from the engineer?
Um, from Dana, like
Yeah.
the one
Yes.
that engineered it.
Yes.
Um, I I don't know. I mean, I guess in my mind, I kind of thought like, okay, this is it's like a different pitch for him. Is that fair?
Sure.
Like you got your fastball, you got your change up. I guess that would be kind of like the change up, maybe the sweeper. But
The sweeper. Do,
I don't know.
do
I thought
people
it was a
still throw
pretty.
that?
I talked to a Nebraska baseball commit last night that throws a sweeper, so it's out there.
Okay.
I personally
Um,
miss the gyro ball more than anything, but go ahead.
so no, I mean I thought it was a smart plan. I mean I think it was simple where it needed to be. I thought things were called at the right time. Um, Certainly the guys executing it helped as well, and I don't know. I mean I think that was a good example of Dana Holgerson kind of being able to kind of find things that work and find things that will work, and getting the guy ready to go. I mean, you had a full week to do it, but I mean, there's still probably an art to getting a true freshman ready to go, and I think the other piece you just had. I know you played the clip from Donovan Raiola last night, but I mean, you had guys kind of all around TJ making plays, and doing kind of the little things that made a big difference in that game.
Mm.
Bruntz, let me ask you this, because it seems like a lot of people who enjoyed what they saw from the offense over the weekend have sort of intimated that we saw things that we hadn't seen at any point during the season previously. Was there anything that Nebraska was able to execute on offense uh, against UCLA that you didn't think we had seen them do successfully before?
Oh, that's interesting.
I think, well, I think what people liked was they liked that it was successful. That kind of clouds the view a little bit, but I think
Hmm.
there was a little bit more rollout, I guess, than maybe what I recall. I mean, I think what probably helped too was not necessarily what Nebraska was calling, but kind of the threat of what they could call. Like the quarterback run piece of it, I think was just such just kind of a wild card in the back of UCLA's mind of like, okay, we have to at least be more aware of this than we probably would be otherwise. And I think that was a big advantage. And did Nebraska show things that they hadn't really? Not really. I mean, they've thrown the screen stuff. I don't know if maybe just the simplicity allowed them to kind of just run things more crisply and kind of game plan and prepare around that a little bit more easily. But I mean, I didn't think there was a ton there that was like new or novel. It was just run at a very efficient level. And I don't know. I mean, we didn't get to talk to Dana this week, but I'd be curious to know if maybe having to limit things a little bit or be a little bit more intentional with the game plan allowed them to basically run what little they were running more, just make it look better. So, I mean, you can correct me if there was something I completely missed in that game that Nebraska added that was new, but it just felt like everything was just a little bit more crisp. With the fact that you had the potential for quarterback run game mixed in there as well.
Brunty, let me ask you something. Excuse me. I don't know what the sentiment was on your board going into UCLA in terms of confidence. I didn't see a lot of people picking wins. Nebraska wins in a very controlling fashion, probably more so than the score indicated. But did you feel like we then kind of downplayed the fact because it was UCLA after the fact than before?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think especially with UCLA's defense, there wasn't kind of the acknowledgement that they've been gashed a lot. The numbers were not good. And then I think after the fact, there was a little bit of, and I might be a little bit guilty of this, but I thought Nebraska could run the ball at UCLA, like just based on what they'd shown this year. But, you kind of say, well, I mean, yeah, that's a team that was, 124th or whatever it was in rush defense. Like that's kind of what it should have looked like. I think you kind of naturally say, well, can you do it against Penn State and Iowa? I mean, that's the next test. But I do think narrative-wise, there probably was a little bit of, you kind of 85 bears it, right? Like, I don't know what the right verb is, but I feel like every week, and this wasn't just last week, coaches do this too, so it's not just media and fans, but like you kind of publicly build up your opponent that week. It's like a boxing thing, I guess.
I mean, they were underdogs, though, so there's something to it.
There is. But, I mean, there was also, I mean, if you were willing to kind of let the numbers guide you a little bit, I mean, that was a UCLA defense that had not been very good at times. And I don't know, like I don't know if you felt this way during that game, but I mean, it felt like at some point late in that second quarter that they were ready to kind of throw the towel in there. And I think that's kind of the scary part sometimes, the playing teams that are going through coaching changes like that. You can never really kind of count on what you're going to get. I think that's what's a little bit scary about Penn State too, where where's this team's head at this week going into this game? And I do think UCLA had some dudes. They always have some dudes. But
if they don't score on that gimme screen, and I'm using this in context, right? Because I hate the whole if they didn't thing, so I don't want to be guilty of it. But that was totally on Nebraska, right? I don't think that was a UCLA thing. So it was 7-7 in the third quarter, scoring wise. Nebraska could have scored again in the second half if they wanted to, from a game management standpoint. If they did, do you look at that game differently, or do you just like, it was 7 points?
Well, if we're doing the hypothetical thing, I mean, I think at that point, you would already kind of, like, the Rose Bowl had cleared out.
Wasn't that something?
Like, it was.
I looked at KC. I go, where are they going?
Yeah. Well, you beat the traffic.
LA,
man.
there's something to do.
That is a tough stadium to get out of. Maybe they were going to get more bobas.
Maybe some In-N-Out. In-N-Out's open at that hour.
They ain't rushing to get there. That's for the tourists. I'm sorry.
That's okay. More for us. No, I think the narrative changes a little bit, and it's a little less tense late in that game if you punch one in there. I mean, it felt like, even body language wise, that UCLA's defense was not. They were definitely kind of in the Mortal Kombat finish him type situation, and Nebraska didn't do that when they had the chance. So that I do think though that that's maybe the next step for this team. I mean, I think that's another kind of step in the road is when you have that chance, how do you kind of end the fight right there rather than go into the fourth quarter and have to play a little bit of a tense game, at least on the scoreboard, because it felt like Nebraska was in control there.
Yeah.
But
but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's just kind of the next step that a lot of programs. I mean, that's not a Nebraska thing. You watch college football on a Saturday. There's a lot of teams that have those chances and aren't able to do that. So that's just the next thing, I think.
Bruntz, how much of that do you think is an inability to actually finish teams off or kind of, really put your foot down on the pedal versus a trust of the coaching staff that they can execute that without reopening the door for the opponent? Because watching that game, to me, I saw that game plan as once it went to 28-7, Nebraska looked at that as the only way UCLA wins this game is if we give them something, so we're just not going to give them that chance.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, I think there was at least a little bit of probably concern given whatever Nico was pulling out of wherever in some of those plays he was making.
He's pretty good,
like,
or pretty athletic, I should say.
He's pretty athletic. I was surprised too at his willingness to kind of just put his head down and
tough
run.
runner. Tough runner.
So you guys, you know what's funny about that? So I was talking to Wayne Cook in the hallway, and he said, and I almost thought I was going to miss my segment. I talked to him so long, like, and you know me, Bruntz, like I have zero attention span, and so I just was caught up talking to him, and he said, he's like, the thing that's going to surprise you is I want more design quarterback runs because he runs like a quarterback. He said he's a big time power runner. So that was before the game. So Benny Mac and I just went down. We wanted to check out the grass and some other stuff, but we kind of just watched him. He's bigger than he looks on television.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, on TV, he just looks like lanky. Like you wouldn't expect that. He would finish runs the way that he did. There was one. I think it was they were going left to right, and
the QB power. Yeah, he finished. He almost came out of the back end.
Yeah, and it was just like, whoa, like what was this? I mean, that going back to your question, Ravi, I think that's the, like, yeah, you trust the coaching staff to do it, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I mean, I think I would be okay with Nebraska punching in another score there, and maybe breaking some will, because I don't like those games where you've got a quarterback that's just running around back there, making backyard football plays, which I think John Butler called Sorsby doing it. So that would have been my concern in that game was, you just kind of let him hang around, and a guy like that sometimes finds a way to make a play.
During the bye week, Bruntzy, you obviously get a chance to watch a lot of things not named Nebraska. If you're looking for a barometer, let me get an opinion game, and you compare it to Nebraska. Is it Michigan Northwestern, Iowa USC, or Penn State Michigan State? If you're going to try to use a non-Nebraska game to gauge Nebraska.
Let's see. Who's Northwestern?
Northwestern Michigan.
Yeah.
Iowa USC, Penn State Michigan State.
I would probably lean Iowa USC, and I'm still just intrigued by that USC game because I mean, even BC and I were at an establishment in Los Angeles with all the USC faithful watching them play Northwestern last weekend, and I don't know, like it feels like that USC game for Nebraska at the end of this year is going to be one that you just look back on and you're like, man, we should have had that one. Like, I think that's going to be,
for as scared as we were of SC. I agree with you. I agree with you.
None of the things I was scared of happened.
And even that, in that USC game, that the Northwestern defensive tackle fumbles at the goal line, like how different is that game if the guy just goes out at the one and you punch it in there? I mean, that was such a turning point. But anyways, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of eager to see what Iowa looks like on the road and against a team like USC that's a little bit different than I know they had Oregon, but how they kind of pick themselves up off the mat and play a team like USC. So I think I think Northwestern is probably going to be one of those wins at the end of the year that Nebraska is not going to. I don't think anybody that beats Northwestern is going to get as much credit for it as they probably should.
Yeah. So if you would have said Michigan Northwestern, you could have said any of the three, because I understand the Northwestern Michigan angle.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're probably looking at Penn State to see what they have left in the tank versus a team in Michigan State who just had wins probably vacated and their coach is in trouble. Like, you could have picked any of the three. I was more interested in the process of your thoughts.
Yeah, no, the Northwestern thing, Brian and I were talking about that a lot. That, like, I think Northwestern's one of those, like, almost kind of like traditional Big Ten football teams that are, they can beat you on any Saturday, but you're probably not going to get the credit for beating them that maybe you deserve. So I don't know. I'm just more eager to kind of see USC Iowa than I am to watch Michigan Northwestern. But just as somebody that's going to be poking his head in between doing leaf raking on Saturday. But
do you have trees that produce foliage? Foliage drop?
I can't say what they do, but it's just like everywhere on my yard.
Oh,
just crap and leaves everywhere.
I have the ones that produce pine, so I'm okay.
Big needles guy.
My neighbors, on the other hand, rake your yard.
Yeah, I got like a couple 50-footers not in my yard, but it falls in my yard.
Really?
Got some overhang.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's it. When I move, I'm definitely looking at trees. Believe me.
Yeah. Well, we had more, but in August, one of them fell in my garage. So there's at least that.
Well,
yeah.
All right.
I mean, congrats, I guess.
Less to rake. Just cave the roof in, so that's the price you pay.
Well, high five your buddy and tell BC. Okay, so DB and I, we kind of fought over me as you going third person, but we decided that you're a little more sensitive, BC, so you can have Damon.
I had no idea he was so sensitive.
Oh, I'm going to send you the clip. It was fantastic.
Got it.
All right, buddy.
That's our guy, Michael Bruntz, Husker247. Bruntz, appreciate the time as always.
Yep, see you guys.
Thanks.